All right, make sure they're all good to go. I'm gonna get started here. Have you read Thank You for My Service by Matt Best? It's engaging, it's funny, it's entertaining, and on some level, there's some serious notes to it. So it was pretty good. I liked it for the most part. Nobody reads anymore, so I figured I'd do the heavy lifting and let you know what happened. Spoiler alert, he doesn't die. I actually read Mad Dog Mattis's book first, but instead of Mad Dog Mattis's book, I went with this one because more people pay attention to his shit on the internet. So I figured, why not check out Barbie Vet? First things first, this book is better than his movie, so good job, Matt. If you like his internet content and you can read, then you're an anomaly. I mean, you might like this. You got the whole book cover jacket thing from Fiverr. It's pretty much as good as it gets. It's him, which I know that he loves, and then red, white, and blue, which is the other thing that he loves. So no guns on the front, but I actually really like the book without all this nonsense, so it looks a lot cleaner. This book was set in Aster typeface, which I love that that's just included in the back of the book, so good job on you. It's broken up into 18 chapters, 212 pages, and I mean, just by reading the chapter name, you can kind of predict what it's gonna be about, especially once you kind of start getting into what he's all about. If you don't know who Matt Best is, well, this is a whole book about him, so just Google him and keep the video going.
Hi, I'm Matt Best. You might know me from videos like How to Be a Douchebag.
This book is pretty much just him talking about himself, so you'll really get to know what it's like to be inside him.
Gay!
Oh yeah. There's 212 pages in this book. That's including the acknowledgements. I'm gonna take you through all the chapter names, and then I'm gonna give you all my notes, everything that I underlined, and then you're out of here. Right here. Thank You for My Service by Matt Best. Chapter 1, Does Anyone Need a Hand? Chapter 2, From Green Day to Green Thumb. Chapter 3, You're in the Army Now. You're in the Army now? Oh, like, now what? Chapter 4, Baby It's Cold Outside, so please piss on me. Chapter 5, A Soldier Comes Home. Chapter 6, Brim and Baraza. Chapter 7, Tab on the Shoulder, Tats on the Sleeve. Chapter 8, Head and Shoulders Above the Rest. Chapter 9, I Am the Law. Chapter 10, Iraqi Rave Party. Chapter 11, Balad, James Balad. Chapter 12, Snowflakes in Los Angeles. Chapter 13, Party Patrol. Chapter 14, When Life Gives You an Ox, Make Oxen. Chapter 15, The 100-Foot War. Chapter 16, Hey, Aren't You That Dude? Chapter 17, Shirts and Shots and Shows and Service. Chapter 18, By Veterans, For Veterans. TSA, NSA, CIA. What else is one that's along those lines, but maybe even funnier? All right, I'll just get right into the whole thing right now. Chapter 1.
Anybody need a hand?
As an Army Ranger and a TSA contractor, I had the honor and pleasure of spending some of the best years of my life defending what this country stands for.
When TSA came into effect, I thought that this was a good opportunity to give back to my country.
It's better than a Chick-fil-A, and let's face it, nothing's better than a Chick-fil-A. For someone from the birthplace of mathematics, this guy understood angles for shit. That's to be expected with a lot of suicide bombers. They're not known for being deep, analytical minds who think things through completely. It's hard to get mad at a walking Darwin Award like that, especially when he saves the US government the 30 cents it would have cost to shoot him. Still, I managed to find a way, because now he'd made it virtually impossible to identify him. Those first minutes when the action feels like it's over and the mission has been completed, that's when the adrenaline dump happens, and when you're liable to lose focus or let your emotions take hold of you, and whatever they are, unnoticed and unchecked, a weird anxiety can start to build, and that's when things can go sideways. Chapter 2, From Green Day to Green Thumb. Despite being the youngest of 6 in a military family growing up in Santa Barbara, California, I hadn't put much thought into joining up when I entered high school, largely because I didn't feel like I fit the part.
Most people never get to see how brilliant they can be. They don't find teachers who believe in them. They get convinced they're stupid.
I definitely was that I resonated with. As the burger business grew and grew, one of the vice principals finally asked me if we had authorization. I didn't lie, but I also didn't answer her question. I told her we were raising money for the botany club. She let it slide for a while, but eventually the school realized they were losing lunch money to our little operation and they shut us down. Stick it to the man. But Alan had other things on his mind. Big, long, hard, black things that gave him immense pleasure to wrap his hands around. Also, he needed a gun. He's talking about his brother. That's funny. Did I say chapter 3? Chapter 3, you're in the army. Now? Chapter 4, baby, it's cold outside, so please piss on me. But I held on to the dude facing me like he was Hillary Clinton's emails. I was never letting go. This guy might one day die in my arms, I realized. The least I could do was piss into his. Chapter 5, a soldier comes home. My utter lack of self-confidence made me terrified of saying the wrong thing or doing anything that might overtly sabotage my chances. Little did I realize that all my worrying was the biggest cockblock of them all. No girl wants to fuck a guy who can't make a command decision.
How do you like them apples?
Chapter 6, Brim and Baraza. I wasn't obsessed with winning. I was obsessed with the act of war.
Which was a bad thing.
At its most basic, war is mano a mano, a fight to the death, in service of something much bigger than yourself. Today, educated people like to think we've evolved beyond this fundamental instinct, and they look down their noses at war fighters as primitive or regressive, whatever the fuck that means. But all you need to do is spend 2 minutes on Twitter to realize that this ancient animal impulse is alive and well. Still, there is a danger in giving yourself over to it completely to the thrill of war. A 6-month pitched battle that involved the famous task unit Bruiser led by Jocko Willink of SEAL Team 3. It's also where Chris Kyle got his nickname, the Devil of Ramadi. This guy was giving up, so I had to let him give up. Saying those words again to myself, more than a decade later, they sound so foreign. Chapter 7, tab on the shoulder, tats on the sleeve. It made me smile because that's how best friends are supposed to treat each other. Don't you dare try to cheer me up, motherfucker. I expect you to kick me when I'm down, like a man. Chapter 8, head and shoulders above the rest. This chapter is crazy as fuck. It was like going on terrorist Tinder and getting an immediate match. You didn't want to mess up that love connection. Down to get fucked? Totes. ETA? Look out your window. I don't see any. All right, give me a second, I say as I adjust and re-secure my black medical gloves. I might get PTSD from this horror show, but I'll be goddamned if I'm gonna get hepatitis C from it too. I'm not saying they should erect a statue in our honor at Fort Lewis. A plaque would be nice, a Jeopardy clue would be swell, maybe a Lifetime biopic starring Sean William Scott as Matt Best and the guy who played Hank in Breaking Bad as Fulton. Ball's in your court, America. Chapter 9, I Am the Law. That chapter wasn't very good. No notes. Chapter 10, Iraqi Rave Party. Pulling on all your body armor and strapping on your normal weapons load for a SAR mission with no definable adversary is like putting on a condom to have sex with a blow-up doll. Sure, technically it's action, but it's not like you're gonna catch anything. In uncertain moments like these, whether it's blowing up a drone or lighting up a party, I follow a very simple formula. P equals plenty. No one has ever said, damn bro, you brought too much booze to the barbecue. The green and blue Kim lights in my hands, I look like Tron just got caught fucking the neighbor's wife down the street.
Walking, 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 walking.
Thanks for getting that going again. You're the man. They contained a National Guard engineer unit full of poor bastards who looked like they had just woken up from a good night's rest. If we had anything in common, it was that neither of us knew what to make of the other. I wondered how these chuckleheads ended up outside the wire in a situation well above their pay grade, while they wondered what all the cool stuff was on my kit. Do I? I was like the Kool-Aid man crashing through a wall. Oh yeah! I looked down on them. I mean, that is what he's saying, but whatever. I looked down to find the entire unit staring up at us in awe, like they were watching angels hop aboard Death's chariot for the ride back into hellfire. It was my first real glimpse at myself in someone else's mirror since going home for block leave after my first deployment. When you spend so much time training and living and fighting with one group of guys, you start to measure yourself only against them, not against the larger population back home or soldiers in the conventional units of the military. Chapter 11, Balad. James Balad. When you come to that kind of understanding with a brother or just with yourself, it is one of the most freeing sensations you will ever have in your life. I felt 10 times lighter, 100 times faster, 1,000 times stronger. At the time, I thought this state of mind was unique to the war experience, and it made me want to live each day each mission over and over again for as long as I could, like an endless summer. It wasn't until much later that I realized that you can have this feeling, or something pretty close to it, outside of war too. You can have it in art or in relationships.
Hello, Mr. Gump.
Hello?
And in business. All it takes is giving yourself permission to take risks and allowing yourself the freedom to fail. See, some of his shit was inspirational. Chapter 12, Snowflakes in Los Angeles, where I would hop on a plane and get shit-faced with Southwest drink coupons. That's actually how I read this book, just drinking on Southwest flights. So I feel you, bro. It takes everyone a little time to figure it out. I get it, but the fundamental lack of understanding of how the world works, the lack of awareness of how privileged they were, and the absence of basic respect for America that I heard coming out of the mouths of these kids was like listening to a 60-minute loop of nails on a chalkboard. The next day I went to the one place that every young, impressionable, know-it-all college dropout turned to in the mid-2000s when they were looking for a temporary solution to a much longer-term problem: Craigslist. I spent hours scoring the site for any kind of job that seemed exciting. I learned a valuable lesson in the process. Casual encounters is not where you look for easy one-time gigs that pay under the table. No matter what your brother tells you, you might get a job, but it's almost certainly going to be of the hand, blow, foot, or rim variety. Ugh, that was difficult. The selfishness, rudeness, and disrespect that ooze from so many people in LA just going about their day, doing absolutely nothing with their lives, made me alternately furious and depressed. Chapter 13, Party Patrol. Is it gouche, goosh, gooch? It's not gooch. It could be gooch, I don't know. Are you saying you want to hire me to stop gay men from fighting? Yes, that's exactly what I want, hero. They run around town and suck each other's dicks, then they get jealous about it and fight everywhere. They're like this with everything: fighting, fucking, dressing, talking the shit. They have no rules. Apparently Mr. Goosh was an amateur sociologist, but they bring the hottest girls, so what are you gonna do? And a philosopher too. I pride myself on being professional, on staying mission focused, and on getting the job done. But there are times when certain circumstances come together in your life that you just have to say, send it. But the part of me that was used to being responsible for the lives of young people wanted to sit down with every one of them and ask, so tell me about your relationship with your father. Do you think this is going to end well for you? I couldn't move. I sat there in my car for an hour and a half trying to figure out what to do. Finally, I pulled out my phone and called my dad. Dad, is that studio you rent out available? I've got to get the fuck out of this place. He could sense the urgency in my voice. It's rented, but I'll get them out by the end of the month. Until then, I'll have a bed ready. Come on home. Chapter 14. When life gives you an ox, make oxen. Put one foot in front of the other, recognize that no matter what, all adversity will end at some point, and then smile to the poor son of a bitch who is struggling worse than you when you pass him on the way to the finish line. Once you've met these basic physical standards, that's when this course actually starts. It's a few weeks of training during which you go through a wide variety of scenarios in order to learn the organization's tactics, techniques, and procedures. This consists of firearms training and qualification, close quarters combat training, driving school, fight training, and a long list of other fun stuff that involves being a man. If you show up on time, meet the standard, and don't quit, at the end you get a nice little certificate. It's like a bachelor's of badassery. What kind of hot dog shit was that? The instructor demanded to know as I headed back to the group. The kind you relish? I asked. If you need me, I'll be serving 3 to 5 in the penitentiary. Ha ha! I love a good pun. What is this nonsense?
I had to redact that.
To make matters worse, my call sign inside the FAA and our contracting group was Poster.
Go for Poster.
As in poster child. I'd been christened with that fucking albatross of a nickname after wild billing my way through the marksmanship phase of the
Train how you fight!
qualification course. Chapter 16. Hey, aren't you that dude? Calling attention to yourself like that isn't something you do unless you're a contestant on The Voice or you're a Navy SEAL. Sick burn! Chapter 17. Shirts and shots and shows and service. Every veteran story was just the endless parade of horrible. He's talking about Law and Order fucking it up.
Let's all go to court. Let's go make some law now. Yeah, some law.
What they failed to show time and again was my experience, which was the same as the experience of hundreds of veterans I've known and served with who loved their time in the military and to this day view it as the most important, meaningful, enjoyable periods of their lives. It felt like the forces that controlled the culture, that attempted to shape how we reckon with war and warriors who fight it, had not built enough tolerance into the system or put slack in the line to accommodate the powerful notion that there are men and women out there who put their lives at risk to fight for others, to fight for an ideal, not because they had to, but because they wanted to, they needed to. I like that shit. Just as civilians can be amazing or they can be assholes, so too can veterans. Their military service may have been the best experience of their lives, but it didn't redefine who they were in the fucking animal kingdom. Chapter 18, by veterans, for veterans. Chapter 18 is where he meets Evan Hafer. That's when shit gets good.
This one here's our booty. You want to get to him, you go through us.
In the years after I walked away from the drug called war, I have relentlessly chased my dreams. I even got married to a smart, talented, beautiful woman. On purpose. Acknowledgements, DOD review for almost 2 years. What the fuck? That's it. That's... My name's Scott. You're watching Regular Veteran. I'll see you on the internet. Thanks for watching. Dee-ba-dee-bop, dee-ba-dee-boo, dee-ba-dee-boo.